Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. I thought today I would do a little neutral, wearable, kind of introductory smoky eye look. Smoky eyes can be really intimidating. I still don't consider myself an expert in the eyeshadow art department, but I love the idea of a smoky eye that could be special and kicked up a notch to wear on a date night, but is still subtle and wearable enough to go to the office, run your errands, what have you. We're using just a few shadows, all in the same palette, and I think it's pretty easy for y'all. So whether you are beginner, intermediate, advanced, I hope you enjoy this little video, and let's get started. Okay, going back in with my favorite, my Jaclyn Hill palette, and we're just going to be using one palette today and 3 to 4 brushes. I've got this big fat blending brush, a couple of dense smaller blending brushes, and one really dense one for blending out, one more dome shaped one for just packing on color on the lid. And I'm starting with a blending brush and taking the shade in the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's kind of orangey mustard shade called Creamsicle, and that is going directly into my crease. This is what we refer to as a neutral transition color, and I will be honest, there are certain parts of doing any eye look, if you want to do it right, that can be kind of tedious, where you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you will see a little bit of that in this video. There's a lot of windshield wiper back and forth blending and going back in with spiral motions and back and forth blending. That's just kind of the name of the game if you want it to be very diffused and soft looking, and that's what you're going to see a lot of here. Going in a little more with that Creamsicle color, just back and forth in the crease. It's one of my favorite colors. It works with any eye look. It's neutral, but it's warm enough to where it kind of has that sunsetty effect, and looks like it's kind of beaming through all the other colors. I love it. I use this color in almost any eye look. You just can't go wrong with it. Taking my big fat blending brush and just smoothing all of that out. You'll see I use the big fat eye blending brush constantly. You really can't blend enough. It's kind of my cardio these days. So now we are going in with a shade called Pooter. How's that for a name? And this is very similar to the first brush I used, but it's slightly more dense. And I'm taking that shade and I'm going to basically do the exact same thing that I just did with the Creamsicle color, but ever so slightly lower with the blend. So we're kind of trying to create a gradient effect. So we're taking that Pooter shade and putting it pretty much directly beneath the Creamsicle and making our little diffused soft layers here. So I'm just doing the exact same thing I did with the first shade. You see my fat blending brush, I told you she'd come back. Blending all of it out. Now I'm taking that more domed brush, the flat one I showed y'all for packing on color, taking these two darker colors called Central Park and Abyss, and I actually use a good old-fashioned clean piece of tissue, and I place it under my eye to avoid fallout. You're going to have fallout with almost any palette, but it's annoying and time consuming, and I saw this trick once and I just do it all the time now because you have a much cleaner line and you don't have nearly as much fallout. So I'm just packing those darker colors on. They are not fully blended yet. So we're going to go back in with, what do you know, the big fat blending brush and just blend her out. Blend, blend, blend. Just keep blending. Going in with that dense, kind of more stubby brush, taking the shades Hunts and Creamsicle, and I'm actually going to take it on my lower lash line. I like it kind of really blown out on my lower lash line. I know that's not the look for everybody, but I kind of vibe it. I think it just draws so much more attention to your natural eye color, looks that much smokier and sultrier. So I am blending those two colors, bringing them down, and even with your lower lash line, you have to diffuse. So we're blending out there too. Now I'm taking a really concentrated small brush, detail brush, and I'm putting those two darker shades, Central Park and Abyss, in my lower waterline and kind of tight lining just a little bit on my top line. It really adds more kind of sexy definition to the eye and gives it that nice smoky look. And I'm diffusing that a little bit more with that lower lash blending brush. And as you can see, if you ever guess what the next step is going to be, it's going to be blending of some sort. Even when I believe I have blended to the best of my ability, inevitably later in the day I'll be like, oh, that's patchier than I want. I need to blend it out some more. We're all human here. We're all learning. I'm taking a highlight shade in the palette. It's the very first shade called In Light. I like to hit the top of the brow bone and the inner corner of the eye. I find it just draws so much more positive attention and light to the eye. Wiping out a little bit of fallout, which inevitably comes even if you use that tissue technique. I'm going to go in with my mascara now. I am using two. I know that's kind of high maintenance. Y'all, forgive these nails. Later on in the day, my awesome sister let me go to the salon by myself and get a fill-in, which was great. But I'm using the Maybelline Lash Sensational and the Too Faced Better Than Sex. I find the Lash Sensational is best for length and separation, and the Better Than Sex to me is really great for volume. Makes your lashes nice and fat and sexy. So I hit it with both of them. The majority of my building up I do with the Lash Sensational, and then I go in with the Better Than Sex there at the end. I personally always put mascara on my lower lash line. I know that's not for everybody, but to me it just completely makes the look way more cohesive. It just completes the look, opens your eyes that much more, and I just, for me personally, think it's a lot prettier. I feel naked without lower lash mascara. Does anybody else? Is that a thing? So this is the finished look, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me. It's not perfect, but it's pretty. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all in my next one.